Cordova, there was a eagle's nest and a raven's nest about 100 feet from each other. And every time the eagle took off from the nest, the raven would attack it. And every time the raven took off from its nest, the eagle would attack it. I have no idea how successful they were at breeding that. But ravens certainly enjoy harassing eagles. And they do the typical thing of, in a group, one raven will go to the back end of the eagle and pull its tail, which causes the eagle to turn around, and then the other raven will go in and grab some food. But this is the pair of ravens at the Glacier Visitor Center. They have their own parking, but, and sometimes pose, the glacier in the background. Interesting observation there. This young black bear had taken a salmon up into the tree to eat, and the ravens came and started harassing it, calling at it and so on. And eventually the bear reached up to swat the ravens and dropped the salmon. And grabbed it. They knew what they were doing. At the other side of the Mendenhall Lake, the pair that is at the campground area are really characters. When I first took this photo, I thought, well, the raven must have bathed or something, or was molting or something, but I was reading in Heinrich's book, The Mind of the Raven. He had a raven that he called Goliath, and it was the king of all the other ravens. And he said you could tell it was superior because it was capable of expanding its lower feathers. So maybe this is son of Goliath or something. This is a fairly short video of the two there interacting with each other. that snowball and picked it up. He rolled down the hill. And what was interesting is that very night, we went up to Eagle Crest to see the fireworks. And I saw kids all over the place doing exactly that. Ravens probably aren't too different. Was a situation where we were out skiing on Mendenhall Lake with our dog, and this raven, one of that pair that just showed you, came and would fly in front of the dog and kind of run ahead of it, acting like it wanted the dog to chase it. And we pretty much have taught our dog not to chase birds, so she wouldn't do it. And eventually we stopped. And so the raven came up and grabbed Nola's tail and pulled it. And then it stood next to the dog, and it sounded just like a dog barking. And then it went in front of Nola and grabbed a stick and rolled on it and waved it in the air. This was an experience I had at Brotherhood Park, where there was about 7 or 8 ravens standing in a circle, and each raven had a piece of styrofoam or a rag or something, and one at a time they'd walk into the middle of the circle and show it to everybody and then walk back. Well, this one raven had a big soda cup, and it walked into the middle and showed it, and then they all flew away. I always get a kick out of the things they put on the structures to prevent birds from landing on them. Birches, ravens anyway. I'd love to watch this one at the university throughout the season. When you read any of the literature, particularly in Heinrich's book, The Mind of the Raven, talks about the possibility of them leading hunters to moose. But Mary Wilson told me that there was a recent study where it indicated that some moose now are aware of what's going on, and when they hear ravens giving certain calls, they run away. I'd love to hear them duet. One of these days we're going to get a recording of that. This is just showing they were capable of getting the sand lamps also. And again, flying to their nest, to their youngsters. But ravens, short ways out Thane Road, that have interesting feeding habits. I've watched them for quite a number of different times, and they eat barnacles. And they just put their bill around them, grab the whole thing, and then you see the regurgitated pellets all over the place of the barnacle shells. And you can usually recognize them because their bills are kind of worn.
Oh, that's why.
But I noticed up on Gold Ridge, I started finding these regurgitated pellets of chemical shells. And probably some of the ones up there are the same ones that frequent Thane Road. A raven's nest. Pretty hard to get good photos at their nest. There was one that I was able to, with a spotting scope and everything, I was able to take some pictures of the youngsters in the nest. Their bills are about as long as their bodies at that age. This is a video I took at Sheep Creek. It's a couple minutes long, but it's a raven interacting with a bald eagle. And when I first saw it happening, I thought the eagle had some food, and the raven just wanted the food. But as you'll see in the video, it wasn't food. Unfortunately, I didn't have a microphone back then, and we were quite a ways away. It was taken by 1,000 millimeters They were constantly savagely talking to each other. Questions or stories or anything you'd like to share? Yes.
We had a neighbor, we do have a neighbor that had a nesting pair of ravens one year, and it almost looked like a communal event. There were almost 6 or 8 ravens around that nest all the time. Do you find that to be familiar?
I haven't read enough about their breeding behavior. I know crows have different members of the family that sometimes do different things. So, do you know, Mark? What is it?
I guess crows.
Yeah. Well, I think it's quite possible that the other family members take them apart. Do you actually see different ones going to the nest?
This was about 12 or 14 years ago now when we first moved into the house, but it just looked like there was like 8 or 6 or 8 ravens around that nest constantly, and it was a nest,
Huh.
and they had young there,
Uh-huh.
and it was ravens.
Yeah.
Definitely ravens.
Yes.
Couple quick questions. One, do you know why on hotter days, if you can call it that in Juneau, sometimes the ravens stand around with their mouths open facing the sun? And the second question is, do you think they intentionally try to poop on people?
This is on sunny days, you see them doing it?
Yeah, last summer on the hottest day in summer, all down at Marine Park.
Being black is not good.
But they could sit in the shade, but they're intentionally in the sun with their mouths open.
Who knows? Didn't you do some work on that, Mark? Yeah.
Well, sometimes birds, when they're warm, will cast a bit in the shadow, so they stand, you know, so they're kind of oriented to the sun or not. And of course, the mouth opens, they're trying to lose heat by bullet water. People in shape.
I have a friend that had a bunch of crows around their house, and they made a lot of noise, and one day threw a rock at him, and he accidentally killed one. And ever since, every time he left the house, the crows would mob him. I believe he said they pooped on him too.
So, ravens, it sounds like generally stay in the same area, because we have one that has a white feather, and it's always up on the lamppost on garbage day, or when the dog is out, which is tormenting the dog. And so they generally stay in the same area?
I think that especially breeding pairs are very territorial. Probably, although certainly I was reading in Heinrich's book, The Mind of the Raven, that they, as far as their roosts go, they change quite frequently and actually travel considerable distance from one roost. And he made some comment that they never use the same roost again. They'll go many miles away, closer to a food source, I think. Yes.
We live off the Mendenhall Rec area, sort of on a little lake by Dredge Lake. We used to have lots of magpies. And the last year or so, there's a stellar jay pair that also tap on the windows whenever they watch me walk around the house, and they'll follow on the rooftops. Could they have, why do I not have any more magpies? Do they move? Are magpies just not around as much as they used to be? We used to have lots of them.
That's my general impression. They're not as numerous here as they used to be, but anyone else has, they're around now, but used to seem like used to get pretty good flocks here and there.
I thought maybe the jays were taking over their territory of this pair. That's pretty aggressive.
In the back, yes.
Yeah, just a little raven story. I had a friend who lived in our neighborhood a few years ago, and he kept losing mail from his mailbox, and he couldn't figure it out. He thought it was his, and so he staked it out one day, and he saw a raven open the mailbox, take the letters out, and fly away with it. So he watched it the next day, and the same thing happened, and this time he was ready for it, and he ran after the raven, trying to get it to drop his mail, but the raven flew onto the top of a light post and shredded.
I've heard of that, particularly happening around Christmas time. Learn to open up Christmas packages. Yes.
I shall fly